We just had a really, really amazing live energy healing session inside of the Embodied Soul with Denise Alyssa community private for members. And one of the things that I really, really love about running this community and running these groups is how it opens up this opportunity for me to be with exactly what is alive and present in the session at that time. So for today, we started off with like some really powerful and educational, and I was able to connect in with the members and say, hey, like, are you guys okay to go really over time today so that we can continue this discussion and expand on this in a little bit in a way that supports you? And then also we were able to work in some guided practices to support some of what was coming up for them and some of their individual challenges that they're navigating. And they said, yeah, we're good. So we actually went like over double the length of time that these sessions are kind of set in the calendar to go. But I'm so grateful for that flexibility and being able to do that when it is what serves community. So, you know, we don't always go that far over, but if something is alive in the system or something is showing up that is really ready to be like explored and there needs a little bit more time to do that, I'm so grateful to have the opportunity and the flexibility to be able to show up in that way and to serve people in that way that really honors what's alive for them and what they need in that moment. So we covered really a broad range of subjects. We talked about having to really let go of control and how challenging that can be when things are happening in our lives that are feeling really out of control and something that, you know, we want to grasp. We talked about what shows up for us and the difference of us that show up when different things are happening, like we're going to be late or we're a little bit like scattered, feeling chaotic because we want to be somewhere at an appointment or experience something and something else is hindering that because somebody else was running late or something else has arose. You know, you get stuck in traffic, whatever it may be. And some of those processes to be able to recenter and reconnect with yourself when those things are happening, especially, you know, on the one hand for the domino effect that can cause, but on the other, so that when you do land and show up in that space, you're able to do so in a centered way and take that moment to reconnect with yourself. Because otherwise we show up kind of still vibrating, right? And still in stress from this of thinking that we were going to late or, you know, logging in right as the session is starting. We also talked about healing crises and some of the symptoms that can show up in our bodies, what can happen when we disconnect from our bodies and why we disconnect from our bodies, right? We are incredibly intelligent beings and we have all of these parts of ourselves that show up to cut off that connection to our bodies in order to keep ourselves safe. So when we do cut off from our bodies, like there's no shame in that. That was something, a part of us that was too much that cut off so that we could be safe. And so we need to honor that, but then also work with it to come back into right relationship and connection with our bodies and our systems. So we had probably like an hour of discussion, and then the second hour was the energy healing process and some other practices, learning what a yes and no feels like in our body. That's something that I typically reserve for my one-on-one clients because I'm able to go deeper with them into that process and really explore on an individualized level what those barriers are for them to connect with their intuition, connect with that sense in their body of what is a yes and what is a no. But once we can develop that, it really guides our way for all sorts of different scenarios. We just know what is right for us and what is not in any given moment. And it is so incredibly powerful and empowering. So man, I feel like I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg in sharing what we went over today. I will do my best to get my other post up that kind of gives like the breakdown, but I'm going to be transparent that this week is a little bit chaotic. I have 3 live sessions this week. I spent about 24 hours in the hospital this weekend, and I'm still kind of navigating some of those pieces. So I hope you guys will give me some grace as I land, as I recalibrate myself, and as I allow myself to take my time in some of those back-end admin tasks in getting the replay up inside of the community and in getting some of the social media posts and emails out later this week. Just give me a little bit of grace, but I will do it as soon as I can. For coming and for being there. And if you're already part of the community, go back and check out the live. Whether you want the discussion or the energy healing portion or both, like I'll break down the chapters so that you can jump ahead if you need to. But there was a lot of really valuable insight and education in there. If you're not already part of the Embodied Soul with Denise Alyssa community, you can join anytime and you can go back and check out that replay as well. So I'd love to see you there.